I've been part of lot of national camps, बहुत सारे national camps किए हैं जिसमें प्रदीप सर के पास साथ मैंने काफी टाइम स्पेंड किया है। मैंने यूएस में काफी टाइम स्पेंड किया है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में काफी टाइम स्पेंड किया है। ऑल्दो जहाँ भी जाते थे निहार सर साथ में जाते थे, बट देन कभी कभी हमें मौका मिलता था दूसरे स्विमर्स के साथ ट्रेन करने का, दूसरे कोचेस के वर्कआउट्स करने का। और सो I've trained with lot of different coaches and I've learned a lot of things from them. So the most important thing जो मैंने नोटिस किया कि हाउ कोचेस टॉक टू ऑल द स्विमर्स व्हेन जब नेशनल कैंप में जाते थे, जब हमारा टीम मीटिंग्स होता था, तो उसमें हर कोच का स्विमर्स को एड्रेस करने का तरीका अलग होता था। तो जैसे प्रदीप सर यूजुअली वाज द हेड कोच, सो ही यूज्ड टू टेक ऑल द टीम मीटिंग। तो प्रदीप सर जैसे बोलते थे, निहार सर जैसे बोलते थे, सूरी सर कैसे बोलते थे, और काफी कोचेस को देखा है स्विमर से बात करते हुए, तो उससे काफी सीखा है। बाकी आई थिंक ये लास्ट वाला जो पार्ट है, kept my ears open when the coaches were correcting techniques of other swimmers and other strokes। तो जब मैं वर्कआउट करता था, जो वर्कआउट के बीच में मुझको रेस्ट मिलता था, उस टाइम पे मेरे आंख और मेरे कान खुले रहते थे। कभी निहार सर फ्री स्टाइलर को बता रहे हैं कि फिनिश ज्यादा करो, दैट इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ योर स्ट्रोक, और कैच के लिए और आगे एक्सटेंड करो। ये स्मॉल स्मॉल थिंग्स दैट आई हैव लर्नड व्हाइल आई वाज अ स्विमर। और यही छोटी छोटी चीजें मैं अपनी कोचिंग लाइफ में, अभी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में एज अ कोच जब आएगा तब आप देखेंगे कि कितनी सिमिलैरिटीज हैं फ्रॉम बीइंग अ स्विमर टू बीइंग अ कोच। So again, जो first point जो मेरा swimmer में था, वैसे ही as a coach, I'm coaching a team that comprises of swimmers with different abilities, so which I've already dealt with, जिससे मैंने already deal किया है अपनी swim team में जब मैं swimming करता था। तो something similar मेरे को अभी काम करने को मिल रहा है। हर swimmer एक अलग individual होता है, आपको उसकी strengths और उसकी weaknesses ढूंढनी पड़ती हैं जब आप नया coaching assignment जब आप join करते हो। तो हर learning about every individual, every swimmer as an individual and their strengths. So हर swimmer की अलग अलग strength होती है, क्योंकि swimming, सब लोग बोलते हैं कि swimming एक individual sport है, swimming एक individual sport है, सब लोग अपना अपना देखते हैं, but I think मेरे हिसाब से swimming से बड़ा team sport इस वर्ल्ड में कोई नहीं है। क्योंकि अगर आपके पास अच्छा ट्रेनिंग पार्टनर नहीं है, आपके पास अच्छी टीम नहीं है, आपके पास अच्छा कोच नहीं है, आपके पास अच्छा स्टाफ नहीं है आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए, तो आई डोंट थिंक कि एक स्विमर कुछ भी अचीव कर पाएगा इन सबके बिना। तो आई थिंक या कंपीटिंग स्विमिंग एक अलग गेम हो जाता है, दैट इज एन इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट आई वुड से, बट ट्रेनिंग फॉर स्विमिंग सबसे बड़ा टीम गेम है। सो यू नीड टू नो अबाउट एवरी इंडिविजुअल। This third point, always be on time to set an example. This is something that I've learned from Pradeep sir. मुझे आज भी याद है कि हम लोग जब कैंप में थे, हमारा फर्स्ट कैंप था, तो एक इंस्टेंट ऐसा था जिसमें मैं और वीर धवल हम लोग स्विमिंग पूल सबसे पहले पहुंच गए थे। प्रदीप सर भी नहीं आए थे क्योंकि बाहर का दरवाजे का ताला लगा हुआ था, तो हम लोग दरवाजे के ऊपर से कूद के हम लोग अंदर चले गए थे। तो प्रदीप सर ने हमें बहुत डांटा। तो उस टाइम पे मुझे लगा कि कि शायद हम सर से पहले आ गए, इसलिए सर ने हमें डांटा। सर wants to be always the first one to be at the pool, so we started coming in a little later than प्रदीप सर। बट अभी जब कोच बन गया हूँ तो मुझे समझ में आया कि उन्होंने हमें टाइम पे आने के लिए नहीं डांटा था, उन्होंने हमें दरवाजे से ऊपर से कूद के आए इसलिए हमको डांटा था, क्योंकि दरवाजे के ऊपर वो शार्प एजेस जो होते हैं उससे बहुत डैमेज हो सकता था। तो जो हमने कोच स्विमर, जो मैंने स्विमर बन के जो सीखा और जो अभी कोच बन के सीख रहा हूँ, बहुत सिमिलर है बट येट बहुत डिफरेंट है। नॉलेज अबाउट ऑल 5 स्ट्रोक इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। दैट्स व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड while I was swimming, because मैं थोड़ा बहुत IM भी करता था। तो just being a swimmer, this I think ये पॉइंट के पीछे भी एक स्टोरी है, क्योंकि जब मैं शुरू में बैंगलोर गया था और मैं ओलंपिक्स के लिए ट्राई कर रहा था 2008 के लिए, तो हमारे एक असिस्टेंट कोच थे उधर बैंगलोर में। तो उन्होंने मुझे बोला था कि अगर तू ओलंपिक्स में जाएगा तो उधर प्लीज फ्री स्टाइल मत करना, वार्म अप स्टार्ट ही ब्रेस्ट स्ट्रोक से करना, बिकॉज if you swim freestyle, they'll remove you from the Olympic pool and they'll tell you to please go and participate in some district meet. That's how bad my freestyle was. So I thought Okay, to know the knowledge of all 5 strokes is very important. Why I say 5 stroke? Because 5th stroke, obviously everybody knows, underwater swimming is the 5th stroke. And I think equally important is the understanding of sports science and procedures to plan a season and write your own workout. आपको एक वर्कआउट क्यों लिखना है, पहले आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि आप क्यों वो वर्कआउट लिखते हैं और किसके लिए लिखते हैं, क्योंकि एक वर्कआउट पूरी टीम के लिए तो डेफिनेटली थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है फॉलो करना, क्योंकि जैसे मेरी टीम में 10 साल से लेकर 17 साल तक के बच्चे हैं, तो आई कांट गिव 10 इयर्स को भी वही वर्कआउट जो 17 साल के बच्चे कर रहे हैं। तो ये मैंने समझा, क्योंकि जब मैं स्विमिंग कर रहा था तो नियार सर भी डिफरेंट लेन्स में अलग अलग वर्कआउट मैनेज करते थे, although he had support staff to manage all those. तो एक लाइन में 50 और 100 के स्विमर्स करते थे, फिर एक अलग लेन में डिस्टेंस स्विमर्स रहते थे, एक अलग लेन में अलग अलग स्ट्रोक्स के लोग रहते थे। तो आई थिंक टू गेट द वर्कआउट सूटिंग द पर्सनल आई वुड से जो पर्सनल रिक्वायरमेंट, जैसे स्प्रिंटर की पर्सनल रिक्वायरमेंट अलग होती हैं, डिस्टेंस स्विमर की रिक्वायरमेंट्स अलग होती हैं। तो आई थिंक टू अंडरस्टैंड द स्पोर्ट्स साइंस बिहाइंड दैट सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट काम है। अगर उसके बिना अगर आपने जस्ट वर्कआउट अगर बना के किसी को भी अगर आपने वर्कआउट कराया, तो आई थिंक you might not even have any success, or you might have very limited success. So again, I'm not trying to teach anybody here anything. I'm just saying what I've learned and what I've seen, and मैं कैसे अपना जो स्विमिंग का एक्सपीरियंस है, जो मेरा 20-22 साल का जो मेरा स्पोर्ट्स करियर था, उसमें जो मैंने सीखा है, मैं वो एक्सपीरियंस को कोचिंग में लेकर यूज कर रहा हूँ। और ओके एक्सपीरियंस अभी फिलहाल तो ओके आई वुड से दैट आई एम डूइंग ओके, बाकी आगे देखेंगे। So yeah, so being a coach and being a swimmer are very different. But if you can understand what coach is trying to say or what a student needs, I think it changes everything. For example, this is one of the very basic workouts if you read it like this. So this is what a normal coach would write on the board. So if you just go through the workout, इतना कोई स्पेशल वर्कआउट अगर देखा जाए तो इतना कोई स्पेशल वर्कआउट नहीं है। जस्ट 4.2 किलोमीटर्स, ये मिडिल डिस्टेंस वाले भी कर सकते हैं, स्प्रिंटर्स भी कर सकते हैं। यू कैन आस्क योर डिस्टेंस स्विमर्स आल्सो टू डू दिस, मे बी ऐड समथिंग मोर इफ यू थोड़ा सा अगर डिस्टेंस और करना है। बट द मेन पॉइंट इज आई थिंक गिविंग व्हाट आई डू एज अ कोच एंड व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड एज अ स्विमर इज दिस। So what I saw as a swimmer and what I tell my swimmers as a coach. तो जब मैं स्विमिंग कर रहा था तो वर्कआउट पे नियार सर स्प्लिट करके वर्कआउट लिख देते, स्प्रिंटर्स का ये है, मिडिल डिस्टेंस का ये है। बट उस वर्कआउट को एक्सप्लेन करने में जितना टाइम आई थिंक नियार सर ने अपनी लाइफ में निकाला है स्विमर्स को बताने के लिए, आई थिंक अगर अभी आप देखेंगे तो वो वर्कआउट और इस वर्कआउट में दिन और रात का फर्क है, ऑल्दो वर्कआउट सेम है। So I think the key here is to interact with your swimmers, give them as much information as you can. जितना knowledge, जितना information उस set के बारे में आप अपने swimmers को दे सकते हैं उतना दें। उससे I think उससे definitely workout का standard भी बढ़ ही जाता है। तो if we go back to the previous slide, अगर इस workout को अगर आपको rate करना है out of 10 being the hardest workout जो आपने किया है, I would give it about a 4 or maybe a 3. But if you write all this down, and if I go to the next slide, which is continued. So if I write all this down, and if I now rate this workout to the other workout, I think this workout suddenly from 3 or 4 went to about 6 or 7. That all depends on कि आप अपने swimmers को कितना information दे रहे हैं उस set के बारे में। हर जैसे देख सकते हैं हर 5x100 या 400 की इनके बीच में आप कितना इंटरेक्ट करते हैं अपने स्विमर से, उसको जितना आप इंफॉर्मेशन देंगे उसी हिसाब से जो स्विमर है वो अपना पेस प्लान कर पाएगा। और आई थिंक गिविंग इंफॉर्मेशन एंड गेटिंग अ फीडबैक फ्रॉम द स्विमर, एवरीबडी ऑल द बिगेस्ट ऑफ कोचेस दे कीप मेंशनिंग इन, जब भी वो बात करते हैं अपने कोचिंग करियर के बारे में। सो आई थिंक एवरीबडी नोज कि स्विमर का फीडबैक इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट फीडबैक, कि स्विमर ने कैसा फील किया। सो अगेन आई थिंक कोच क्रिस मार्टिन And I think even I think lot of other coaches also mentioned the scale of number of 1 to 10. If agar number 1 being the easiest workout and number 10 being the hardest, so give a number. So just simple feedback I think would change a workout, and you can make changes accordingly in a workout की अगर ज़्यादा easy है तो इसको hard कैसे बनाना है. So I think जितना detail आप दे सकते हो सुमर को, ऐसा मैंने सीखा है. जो मेरे को ज़्यादा डिटेल मिलती थी तो मेरा वर्कआउट अलग होता था, और अगर सर सिर्फ वर्कआउट बोर्ड पे लिख के अगर डिस्टेंस वालों से बात करें और हमारा सेट शुरू हो गया है, तो there was a lot of difference between this workout and between this workout, although it's the same workout. अगर आप देखेंगे तो सेम ही वर्कआउट है, जस्ट जो डिटेल्स इसमें लिखी हुई हैं, छोटे से छोटी डिटेल भी अगर आपके सुमर को मिलती है तो आई थिंक वर्कआउट का मोटिव चेंज हो जाता है, वर्कआउट का इंटेंसिटी चेंज हो जाता है. आई थिंक एज अ कोच, एज अ स्विमर, व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड इज जस्ट वर्कआउट अगर आपने लिख दिया तो आप मैजिक नहीं होगा कोई कि कोई बच्चा आके बस वर्कआउट लिख दिया एंड यू एक्सपेक्ट मैजिक टू हैपन, वो नहीं होता है. तो आई थिंक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है इंटरेक्शन. वही जो अभी पिछले स्लाइड्स में देखा कि कितना डिफरेंस हो जाता है एक सेट से दूसरे सेट में, जस्ट थोड़ा सा इंफॉर्मेशन अगर आप किसी स्विमर को एक्स्ट्रा दे देते हैं. तो अंडरस्टैंड एंड टेक टाइम टू एक्सप्लेन एवरीथिंग टू स्विमर्स इन डिटेल. सबसे पहले तो एज अ कोच मेरे को अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना चाहिए कि मैं बच्चों से क्या चाहता हूँ, मैं बच्चों को क्या सिखाना चाहता हूँ, मैं बच्चों को जो सेट दे रहा हूँ उसका मोटिव क्या है. आई थिंक अगर आप एज अ कोच अगर मेरे को क्लियर नहीं होगा तो मेरा एक्सप्लेनेशन जो बच्चों को जाएगा दैट विल अगेन बी नॉट क्लियर, क्योंकि अगर मेरे को ही क्लियर नहीं है तो मैं समझा नहीं पाऊंगा. तो उससे सबसे पहले मेरे को क्लियर होना चाहिए कि मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ, मैं क्या समझाना चाहता हूँ. तो टेक योर टाइम, बिकॉज यस काफी बार ये होता है कि आपके पास सिर्फ 1 घंटा या 1.5 घंटा होता है वर्कआउट करने का, तो आप बच्चों को पहले बुला के समझा सकते हैं. तो टाइम निकाल के अगर आप बच्चों को समझाएंगे तो आई थिंक द whole purpose of the set changes. The last part is again very important part. I always keep the most important part towards the end. A lot of people mentioned that that there are a lot of बहुत workouts available हैं online. आजकल कोई भी कहीं से भी copy paste करके किसी को भी दे सकता है, but लेकिन अगर आप ऐसा करते हैं तो आपको कोच की फिलॉसफी नहीं पता, क्योंकि अगर एक कोच ने किसी बच्चे को वर्कआउट दिया है, उसका अगर वीक पार्ट है किक, तो उसके लिए अगर वर्कआउट किया है तो तो जो आप जिसको करा रहे हैं इट मे नॉट मैच अप टू द एग्जैक्ट सेम लिमिटेशंस और वीकनेसेस ऑफ द स्विमर दैट यू हैव. तो आपके स्विमर का लिमिटेशंस कुछ अलग है, उनके स्विमर्स का कुछ लिमिटेशन अलग है, उनके लिए कुछ सेट का कुछ पर्पस अलग था, आपको वो पर्पस पता नहीं है. तो अगर आप सिर्फ कॉपी करके अगर ऐसे किसी का भी वर्कआउट लेके आप किसी भी बच्चे को कराएंगे तो उससे सिर्फ एक ही चीज होगी, क्योंकि थिंग अगर कुछ लाइफ में चेंज होता है तो उसके दो साइड्स होते हैं. आई थिंक एक अच्छा साइड होता है, एक बुरा साइड होता है. अगर अच्छा साइड आपको मिल गया तो आपके पास सक्सेस आएगा, बट लेकिन वो सक्सेस ज्यादा नहीं चलेगा क्योंकि आप सिर्फ कॉपी पेस्ट कर रहे हो. और बुरा ये होगा कि आप आप बच्चे का भी टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो, आप खुद का भी टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो. तो एज अ कोच आई थिंक वर्क एथिक्स वाइज अगर देखें तो आई डोंट थिंक इट इज good to copy anybody's workout blindly without understanding कि वो क्या उसका क्या पर्पस है उस सेट का. I think game plan के बारे में I think there are a lot of coaches who mentioned about कि like Partha mentioned about the long-term athlete development. Coach Martin also told us that you should have a plan. If you don't have, I mean, you can have the big plan, you can have small plans, you can have a plan for daily thing. I think everybody mentioned that you should have a plan for the team and you should have a plan for every single swimmer. But I don't think anybody mentioned that that you should have a plan for yourself as a coach. मतलब आप अपने आप को कोचिंग करियर अगर आपको बनाना है तो आप अगले 5 साल में आप अपने आप को किधर देखते हैं. आई थिंक वो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट भी है. ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि उसको बनाने के लिए आप अपनी टीम और हर स्विमर को इग्नोर करें. तो जो कोच का जो प्लान है फॉर द कोच हिमसेल्फ, आई थिंक दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट. And again I'm mentioning that these are the things that I have observed while I was a swimmer, and I think what I'm trying to do right now. So more than, I think I missed one of the very important points during this. I think जब कोई कोच अगर अपने, एक सेकेंड, I'll just go back to this. Yes, again. इट इज एक तो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी, मैंने पहले भी बोला कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग एक कोच का इज नॉट बिटवीन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द स्विमर। एक स्विमर का अंडरस्टैंडिंग और कोच का अंडरस्टैंडिंग अलग होता है, और एक कोच का अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि वो बच्चे से क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, आई थिंक वो उनके वर्कआउट में रिफ्लेक्ट करता है। और काफी कोचेस जो होते हैं, दे I think most of the young coaches that I'm talking about, not the senior most. I think all the seniors coaches will know that this happens in the program that every coach builds. I think everybody focuses on their weakness, on the swimmer's weakness. तो कभी-कभी I think होता है कि coach एक अपना वीकनेस पे इतना काम करने लग जाते हैं कि अपनी स्ट्रेंथ्स को भूल जाते हैं, एंड देयर स्ट्रेंथ स्टार्ट बिकमिंग देयर वीकर पार्ट, एंड दे डोंट रियलाइज that is something that a coach should also focus on. Don't just work on your weakness, on the weakness of the kids. I think work on the strength, because the strength is what is making them great, not this is what separating them from being good and great. So I think my presentation is going to be small. I can expect everybody to have this small presentation, but I think as a coach, it is more important. The most important part is to know individual strength and weaknesses of swimmers. And I think I'm coming very close to the end. So this is just my experience. Again, my experience of what I have learned as a swimmer. I can try to implement that as a coach, and while all coaches doing a lot to be the best one can possibly be, but in the meanwhile I was also learning to be the best coach that I want to be, because this has been a very long decision that I had to make.
And
very
sorry to bother,
yes.
Your voice is not that clear, so if you can keep the mic slightly close, internet connection ka thoda issue hoga.
Okay, this is fine.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, I was anyways coming to the end of my presentation, sir. I think my experience as a swimmer was I think a learning experience for me to become a coach. I think I always knew that I wanted to be a coach, and so every small detail that I focused on as a swimmer is what मुझे as a coach help कर रही हैं, और being more interactive, and I think know what your swimmers need. I think that's the most important part. A lot of people can come in with a lot of sports science and a lot of psychological things and lot of other things, but as a coach, the most important part is to know your team. I think that's what makes you would make you a good coach, I think, because I've been coaching for 1 year, so I don't really know how to be a coach. So I'm just trying the different I can. And the most important is that I always have mentors, or I always have senior coaches to help me. So I don't shy away from asking them the silly questions about coaching. I think if you share more, you'll learn more. So the coaches चाहें आपको help करने के लिए. तो एज अ कोच अगर आप किसी भी कोच के पास जाएंगे, अगर उसे हेल्प मांगे, तो आई एम श्योर nobody will back out from you, other than asking them for workout. I don't think that's something you should do, or something your work ethics should allow you to do. So again, into the fundamentals of coaching, what Nihal mentioned, why is he into coaching? Because he wants to see that Indian flag and Indian national anthem. I think as a swimmer, I've experienced it many times, and I've बहुत बारी experience किया है as a swimmer. तो and I just मतलब अगर किसी एथलीट को आप बोलेंगे करने के लिए वो फीलिंग कि आपका इंडियन फ्लैग ऊपर जा रहा है, नेशनल एंथम, none of the athletes will be able to explain it. So I think I've experienced it, and I want my swimmers or the Indian swimmers to experience the same. I think to put them on world map, I think we are very close, and all the new coaches who have been a swimmer will know that. And I think the
I'm sorry
future
to
of Indian
stop you again, Sandeep. Your actually your voice is cracking. It's probably the internet issue. So, do you want to?
No,
Is in?
I'm done, sir. I'm. Is it better now?
Yeah, it is getting better slightly.
I think it could be the internet because.
Yeah, it's just the net. I'm sorry to stop you because there are a
No, no,
few. Yeah,
that's okay. I was done.
yeah. And I think now it's clear. You can please carry on. Please carry on.
Yes, I was just mentioning why I'm coaching. I think as a swimmer जो मैंने experience किया है, अगर उसके बारे में बात भी करता हूँ तो मेरे को आज भी गूज़ आते हैं, करना बहुत मुश्किल है, क्योंकि मैंने experience किया है and I want the Indian swimmers also and many more other swimmers to experience the same. I think getting them on the world map, I think it's not very far. I am very positive that within a couple of years we will be there, and I think that's what I am doing. I'm not scared to take help of the other senior coaches and learn from their mistakes or learn from their experience. And I think thank you very much. And that was my presentation, mostly sharing my experience with all of you.
If you want, you can remove the slide. Then you can get a better
Yeah.
sound quality probably.
Hi, Sandeep. Sorry, I couldn't welcome you. I joined in a little late.
No
There was some
problem.
electricity problem at home.
That's okay, sir. How are you doing?
Are you able to get my audio?
Yes, I'm ready.
Your
my audio is not there?
Yeah.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, perfect. Hi, Partha.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so I pretty much was there through the whole session. Excellent, Sandeep, for sharing all those experiences. And I'm sure a lot of athletes would like to relate with you and would like to see the Indian flag flying high. We can start taking questions, Partha.
Yeah, sure. So let me start with the first question, and that is from your fellow mate, Mr. Vidyaval Khare. So the question goes like this: what traits of yours have helped you as a swimmer, and they are helping you as a coach now? Name a couple, please. This question is from Vidyaval.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in my presentation that whatever I've learned in my swimming, I'm just implementing that in my coaching. I think a lot of things I learned from the coaches about how to first of all is the presentation. I mean to be presentable at the pool deck always, because everybody is watching you, and if you're I know as a swimmer I would always walk around in chappals, but since I've been coaching, I think I've never worn chappals to the pool deck. I think I'm trying to set an example that to to dress up nicely to go there and to be presentable as a coach. I think that's something I've learned as a swimmer from Niyar sir and from Pradeep sir, and I'm trying to implement. Second would be, I think the just viewing. If I was swimming in lane number 1 and there was someone bunking workout in lane number 8, I think I would spot it immediately as a swimmer. So I think that is continuing as a coach also. So if there is anybody fooling around in practice, I think I can immediately catch that person. That makes me a horrible coach, I know, but I know all the swimmers hate that nothing misses my eye. I think that's something that I'm continuing to have as a coach.
Thank you, Sandeep. The next question is from Tejas Nair. Can you highlight your a bit about process versus outcome? Your view when you're a swimmer, now your view of process versus outcome as a coach. Is there any change, and would you like to highlight?
Yeah, there is a lot of change, because earlier on you were the only person responsible for your outcome, because when you were racing, uh, your coach is given you enough knowledge, is given you enough practice, and at the end of the day, when you come to the block, it's all about you. So it was just your outcome that you were worried about. Now that I have 50 swimmers in my team, and I think I am worried about those 50 people's outcome, and I think their outcome reflects how good a coach or how bad a coach or what kind of workout that I have given them. So I think pressure is 50 times more, you can say, because the team size is 50. But I think the process, I'm enjoying the process now more than I enjoyed the process while I was swimming, because there is less hard work. I have to not get in the pool, but yeah, screaming and shouting and running behind the kids. I think that's changed, and that's become more pleasant now. But the outcome has become equally hectic, and I think just expecting all the 50 of your swimmers to perform, I think that's the biggest pressure that a coach can experience.
Thank you, Sandeep. Coming back to the last question, and then Monal sir will ask some questions. What are your three advice for young coaches who are handling the group of kids, young kids?
I think the best advice that I have got while I was learning I was doing my awesome course was to keep it very simple. The smaller kids need to learn the basics first before they move on to the higher level of coaching. And this is something that I have learned, and that I have implemented in my coaching also. So I think just keep it really simple. Just make sure that all the small kids fall in love with the water first, and when they fall in love with the water, I think they'll go a long way. I think that's one way to start. If you push them like all the other the biggest of the coaches who have given the presentation have mentioned, that more workout you give the youngster, the more likely they are to get burnt out. So I think just keeping it very simple would be my suggestion to all the young coaches, and that's what I do. So
That's fine. Partha, you want me to address Sandeep?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is somebody who's asking on your thoughts about a happy swimmer versus a fast swimmer.
I think I've swum for about 22 to 23 years roughly, and I think the happiest swimmers are the fastest swimmers. Because you don't become fast if you're not happy. If you're grumpy all the time in the practice, if you're grumpy all the time when you're even if you win a national medal, and if you're still grumpy, I think that's not going to last. But if you are happy and you're enjoying what you're doing, I think that will make you the fastest of the swimmer. If not the fastest, I think it will make you the best swimmer possible. So I think that's what we are trying to achieve. So I think happy swimmer is more important than being a fast swimmer.
Thanks. Thank you. There's a question on how to deal with emotional state of mind when you retire from competitive swimming.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's a very tough one. Luckily, in my when I was about to change gears from being a swimmer to being a coach, I had the help of Sir Rahul Dravid. I would like to mention his name because Go Sports had recently tied up with Rahul Dravid for a lot of different stuff, and I was the lucky one to get a chance to sit in a room with him. So I asked him the same question, that how and when that you want to change gears from being a athlete to become a coach or do something else. He said you'll never know. You'll never know, and because of the love of the sport, I think it is just you just have to come into agreement that that chapter of your life is over, and you want to start a new chapter in your life. I think when I was swimming, I think I also didn't know that whether I should stop or not stop, but I think I just had to make that call and just move on with life, because frankly speaking, swimming at 30 is really, really difficult. I mean, as compared to swimming at 20, 25, because at 30 your body does not react the same way, because it takes about 3 days to get rid of the soreness. So I think that's the time I realized I think I should move on to the next chapter of my life. But you'll never know. So you just have to make a call, and that you're done and you want to move on with life. You just have to come into agreement with that.
Excellent advice, Sandeep. Before I put the next question, in case Partha I get cut off because of this electricity issue at home, I just carry it forward.
Sure.
I'm putting a question which Sundaresh is posing. This question was actually posed in one of the earlier sessions also. We didn't take it. So I guess we'll take this one. So he's asking, as a coach, Sandeep, how would you handle a parent who has been a previous national swimming champion in his own career, but currently his kid is training under you, therefore he's an over-expected parent?
Yeah, that's a good one. I have similar parents also in my group, and I every time they come up with a question regarding the performance and why my kid is not performing as good as he should, or he or she should be, I only ask them a question to answer this question. I always ask them that you have had ups and downs in your career. You were not. I'm sure there is nobody in this world who's just being constantly improving at all times. At one point, there have been a stage in everybody's life where they've taken a step back, or the performance has dipped a little bit. I just kind of remind them about that time, and and I think if the parent is himself a national level swimmer, I think he or she would know that that this is not a job that will be done in one day. If you want a long career, you have to be patient, and you were patient when you were doing it, so you know exactly how the process goes. I think you just have to remind them about their time, and I think they will. It's not just about the national champion parents. I think all the normal parents also do have expectations. Just constant reminder of that this is not a career that will last you just 1 year or 2 years. It's a career that will last you about 10 or 15 years. So being impatient now will cost you years later on in your career. So just remind them about that, and think as a national swimmer or a national level athlete, they will understand.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandeep.
And one sec, Partha.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So as you know, we would love to see more and more elite level swimmers or swimmers with accomplishments at the national level, etc., to turn towards coaching and give back to the game. There is somebody who's saying that there is a dictum which says a good coach need not be a good swimmer, and a good swimmer need not be a good coach. So having said that, how can a good swimmer be a good coach? And how can we see more and more people like you in the on the coaching side of things, so that the young kids benefit from all your experiences?
So very true that you said that all the swimmers, or good swimmer not need to be a good coach. They can't, or a good coach does not have to be a good swimmer. But I think the knowledge about the sport is the most important. The understanding, like I mentioned in my presentation, the understanding of what you want to do as a coach, that should be clear in your mind, and the knowledge about the sport should be clear in your mind. And I think what I'm doing, again, I'm talking about my personal experience. I'm sticking to the basics for now. I'm just doing everything very basic. I'm doing all the basic drills. I'm doing all the basic water feeling work. I'm doing all the basic workouts. I'm just interacting more with the kids. And, as a swimmer, I know what I could have done differently in a set. So I give them that opportunity to try something different in that set. And if they fail, they feel bad about it, they won't try it the next time. So I think being open and share your experience as much as you can with the swimmer, I think that helps to understand the coach, the swimmer a little bit more. So that's what I've been doing. I think if you try the same thing, I think it should work. If not, then I think the best way to start your coaching is, first of all, to do your certifications, certification courses about coaching, and learn about coaching. So like sir said, that a good swimmer may not be a good coach, maybe because he does not have knowledge about coaching. So maybe you should do your certification first and then get into coaching.
Thank you, Sandeep. Partha, you can take that next few questions.
Now let me start with Sajan Prakash. So this is his question. What are 3 things that you want to change from the experience of a swimmer to making it better for your swimmer as a coach? 3 things.
Okay, I don't know if I can come up with 3 things, but I think the opportunity for a swimmer to make mistake, I think that I would change, because most of the time, the coaches are very, like I was talking pre-presentation, that, I give them the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from their own mistakes. I let them find the answers for the questions that they ask on their own. So I think that is one thing I have already implemented and I've already changed in my coaching. And second thing would be to teach the discipline to a kid. I think that's one of the major things that I would change for now. And I think if I had got a hold of a nutritionist at my early age, and I think I could have maybe achieved what I achieved a little earlier in my life. So I think changing their eating habits would be the third one.
Thank you, Sandeep. Now, this is one question which have come in the previous occasions also. Um, I understand that you have limited facility in one way, that you only have 3 lanes for training, as you told me. And you have a large number of swimmers. I guess 40 you have said, right?
45.
45 swimmers. So it's very challenging for you. So do you like to explore or tell us that how you manage this limitation and ensure the performance of the kids?
See, first thing that I've done is segregate the groups according to their abilities. So if a person who can say, for example, do 100 freestyle restart on 130, that would be my basic requirement to segregate the groups. And the three, I think I've made three. There are 3 groups, different groups for the different abilities. I think that helps. So I give 1 hour the the juniors who are still learning all 4 strokes, then 1.5 and 1.5 hours to the other 2 groups, where I kind of manage by clubbing in the warm up of one group with the last set of the other group. So I think that saves me about half an hour of my time and everybody's time. So I think there are always resources available. You can I've got the help of Vinod Nair, who's working with me at the pool. So I think he handles one batch, I handle one batch. I think we work simultaneously. And like, yeah, yes, it sounds very impossible, but I've had a lot of distance swimmers achieve a lot of things in a short course pool, working out with only 1.5 hours of training cycle, and doing only 4 to 4.5 kilometers. So when the time is limited, what I've done is I've reduced the garbage meters that everybody has in their workouts. So I've reduced the lot of warm up, and I've reduced a lot of swim downs at the end, and a lot of garbage recovery meters in between. So whatever I do very specific work, which saves me a lot of time, and it helps me manage one group to the another.
Thank you, Sandeep. Now, this is a question came from Prashanta Karmakar. As a swimmer, you have actually participated in many events and you have reached the podium finish in multiple international meets. Now, if India plan 2032 podium finishes, now since you become a coach, what are the new thing you want to see, or what are the changes you want to see in the system?
I think that's a very good question. There are a lot of changes that are already happening in the swimming field when I talk about Indian swimming. First of all, this being one of the biggest stage, I think 700 odd coaches trying to learn from all the senior coaches. I think this is the start. This is a very good start. And Khelo India is doing their bit. I think everything is changing for. I think all the changes that we have is very positive. I think if the Swimming Federation of India and Sports Authorities of India can keep their hands in hand together and keep working the same way, I think the podium finish is not very far. I don't think 2032 is really too far. I think if things goes like this, I think 2024 we can expect maybe a top 8 position in the Olympics.
Monal sir, you want to highlight few questions?
Yes, Sandeep. There is a question from Shikha Tandon, our ex-Olympian. How do you handle setbacks as a coach? How is that approach different from when you were as a swimmer?
See, I've something I want to share about this. When I was a swimmer, in 2008 I went a 102.19 at the Beijing Olympics. Okay, that was my exact fraction. I still remember. And the last senior national that I participated, I finished at 102.6. So that's a difference of 10 years, and my time has been the same. So I have learned a lot from the setbacks. I have been on a plateau for a very long time, but in between there have been a lot of times where I've excelled beyond beyond 1-2. I have gone 1-1. I have gone my best time in 2018. I think the way Nihar sir treated me helped me a lot. So I try to be more like him every single day. In every single setback that I have as a coach, I talk to the swimmer. We try to do the post-mortem of the race that me and Nihar sir used to do always, and we try to fix our training plan. I think what a swimmer needs in a setback is the support from their coach, because family is always there to support them. I think if they get support from someone from outside, I think as a coach, all I do is just support them and be positive about the next thing that we're going to do. So.
Thank you, Sandeep. Kevin Michael is asking, what would be the certification courses that you would recommend?
Well, that depends. That depends on what kind of coaching you want to do. So if you want to do learn to swim coaching, I think Aweswim teaches you a lot of things about learn to swim and how to handle kids. Then ASCA level 1, 2, 3 will teach you how to be, how to actually start coaching and planning your own workouts and planning your cycle for all the different swimmers. I think these two are available. I think the ASCA is available online, but Aweswim, I think Hakeem, who's going to talk about a little later in the presentation. I mean, later on, he'll also mention that every year I think there are 2 courses of Aweswim that happens everywhere in the country. I think maybe these are the 2 I think are very important, and both have their separate base. So one is for learn to swim, where you learn how to deal with the kids, and one is where you start learning how to plan as a coach. So.
Okay. So there is somebody asking, of course, we take the question, but you've been across the world and you trained and you competed across the world. So the question is, what is the difference between Indian swimming infrastructure and other country infrastructure? And what improvements, if any, if you were to suggest, what improvements would you suggest?
Well, talking about infrastructure, I think right now India is at par with the world when it comes to infrastructure. We have the best swimming pools, we have the best gyms, we have the best of everything available to us. I think the only thing I would like to change or include in this would be the support staff, because dietitian, physiotherapist, and a doctor on board for every team is, I think that's the basic requirement, because every time a swimmer or an athlete gets injured, and if there is no physiotherapist available on board with their own, with their team, I think it takes a lot of time for them to, travel around and, get the treatment and heal. I think that's the only thing that we are lacking behind in. But again, I said positive things are happening and a lot of things are changing, and I hope I wish every team has a physiotherapist and a dietitian on board with them.
Okay.
So can you just give me 30 seconds? I'll just grab my charger.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That'll give us time to look at the questions as well. I think we are ahead of time today.
Yeah, but there are many questions with, I guess.
Yeah, and this is more about sharing experiences. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So should I shoot a question, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's someone have asked, as a former Olympian breaststroker and your strength in that, can you please guide some strategy for budding swimmers and young coaches which can help them in training?
I used to give a lot of tips when I was a swimmer, because everybody would want to learn from the experience that I had. But now, since I've become a coach, I cannot really give any swimmer a tip unless I see them, because I need to know their weakness, I need to know their strength, what they're doing, I need to know what the plan of a coach is. So I think kid and a coach need to sit together and plan everything together. I think, but for most important, I think the best thing you can do in breaststroke is work on your kick. because kick is the 50% of your stroke, which is not there in any other stroke. But I think 50% of, if you can work on your 50%, I think most of the breaststrokers lack in a very good kick. That's what I've seen in Indian standard. But as a coach and as a swimmer, you need to sit down with your coach or your teammates or individually to decide what your plan should be and how, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and accordingly you should work out a plan.
Thank you, Sandeep.
So while Partha is looking at some questions, I'll pop in with a personal question.
Yes.
Personal as in personal from me. As you are aware that Indian swimming suffers with a very high dropout, and we do not have too many swimmers going up to the senior level and continuing with the sport. You yourself have been with the sport for an extremely good long career, and we would like to see this kind of continuity with the sport for a much longer period into the senior years. Having said that, of course, you have been performing at the top level for India and have personally as well as for Indian swimming. So it could have been easy, but for what's your advice to Swimming Federation or coaches out there to retain more youngsters in the sport, even if they are not performing at the top level? Maybe they could extend their career and see some better performances in the later part of their career. So what's your advice as a swimmer, as a coach, both?
Well, what I have seen in past 1.5 years that I've been working in Bombay, that the pressure of studies is a lot in Bombay, especially. I mean, out of any other places, I think Bombay, everybody wants to just go abroad and study in a college abroad, and nobody wants to stay back here. I think that's one of the main reasons, and the results show that at the age group level, Bombay is always at the top. And when it moves from junior level to the senior level, and Bombay suddenly drips down to either second or third place. Uh, I think studies are the biggest killer of sport in India right now. But as a coach, I think just keeping them motivated, keeping the kids motivated, that will help. And by motivated, I mean to build an interest of not just swimming as a sport, but swimming as a life-saving skill. I think if you can spread the knowledge of life-saving, that this is a skill for life and how important swimming is. So it doesn't I mean, a swimmer does not have to maybe continue with the career, but they can still be associated with swimming in a lot of different ways. I think we as a coach should find those different ways and try to keep them involved in the water, because the more number of people who are involved in the swimming, including the coaches and the swimmers and the other staff, obviously, then we'll have a bigger what do you call, bigger subject. So we'll have a lot of people to work with. We have a lot of different ideas floating in the air, and you never know. Maybe someone who's just won a medal at the club level might come up with the wonderful idea of how to keep everybody involved and in the sport. So I think just to spread the knowledge of how important swimming is and life saving, I think that could be one of the ideas moving forward.
Extending that thought, not everybody has an opportunity to go abroad for education, and the Indian education system does not give the luxury of being a competitive athlete as well at the same time being at university or high school. If you were to give a couple of advices for the changes in the education system, just 1 or 2 points.
I think as a sports person, what I've got from my school is the freedom to to train and train wherever I want and travel as much as I want for the competition, as long as I perform good in the exams. I think more schools need to come up with that policy where the kids, because at the end of the day, it's just for the school only the exams would matter, right? Not the attendance. So I think more than focusing on the attendance, they should focus on how the kid is performing in the exams. If the kid is performing well in the exams, I think a school or a college should give them a little bit of exemption to go and train and pursue their game for a for a higher level.
Thank you, sir.
Again speaking from my experience, because as a swimmer, I got the same support from my school and my college. Although St. Stephen's College is known for not giving such kind of exemption to anybody, but because I was performing at my exams and I was performing in swimming, and I think I got in touch with the right people at the right time, and they helped me through this. So.
Yeah. Just for the knowledge of everybody here, that is not too much different from the US also, because you can be playing on a team in the US high school or university, but if your grade point average drops, then you do not have the luxury of missing classes. So some of our schools have started changing, and we see more and more of that, and hopefully we'll be able to retain our youngsters in the sport much longer. Partha, you want to go ahead?
So I like to point one question from Vinay Manakhe, one of the senior coach of Maharashtra. So he want to know, as an Olympic swimmer, rank wall number 39, and now becoming a coach, what do you think? What you could have done different for yourself to leap your performance in your swimming career, which you may not have done as a swimmer?
Sir, as a swimmer, talking about myself as a swimmer, I think I was very satisfied with what I have achieved, and I think I was content with the fact that I was one of the very rare breeds of swimmer who are actually satisfied, because everybody wants to achieve more and more, and I think I had come to my true potential when I swam the best of my races, and I think that's one of the reasons that I was able to switch from swimming to the coaching field. But as a coach, I am trying to implement a lot of things which I've learned again from all the different coaches, and what I keep reading about, what I keep studying about, and I try to keep all the swimmers more involved in their own swimming. Right now, if you ask any of the swimmers from Otters Club, all the parents, they come to me and they say, sir, we don't have to wake our kids up at 5:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They wake up themselves, and they wake us up to come to the swimming pool. So I think just building an interest of the swimming pool, and I think building this habit of a swimmer coming into the swimming pool all by themselves and waking up by themselves, I think is one of the biggest change that anybody can make for a swimmer.
Okay, another question. I just kind of modify that question a bit. So in your swimming time, you have a certain amount of pressure from your parent for swimming. I don't know whether it's maximum, minimum, or very mild. And now coaching in Mumbai, you might be getting a lot of parents who put a good amount of pressure on their kids for performance. How do you differentiate that, and what are your strategy to overcome that?
See, as a swimmer, when I was swimming, the parental pressure of me performing as a swimmer was the minimum. I mean, my mother used to take me to the swimming pool, watch me train hard, and she was the most happiest person on earth, to see me perform in the workouts. And she had never asked me any question about how much time you went in practice, how much you're going to perform in the competition, or she doesn't. She was always out of it, but always involved in helping me or supporting me in any ways she could. So I think that way I was blessed to have parents who were very cool and not given me any pressure. Nowadays, I think we more than the education program for the kids. I think we need to educate our parents also, and we need to make them realize that this is not an overnight thing that is going to take your swimmer to the Olympics, or that. Maybe what I usually do is I share my story. It took me 20 years to win a medal at the Asian Games. It didn't come overnight, and everything that I did for 20 years, I failed a lot of times, I won a lot of times, I learned a lot of times, and that's, I think, sharing my own experience with the parent, and making them understand that this is not an overnight process, that everybody is going to become a champion overnight. I think giving them that kind of education, and talking to them like that, it usually helps. It has helped me. to differentiate or to ease a little bit of pressure off the kids from their parents.
Thank you, Sandeep. Onal sir, would you like to point out any question?
Yeah, so there is a question about a swimmer, a young swimmer who is looking at coaching as a career. Do you think they should start learning about coaching while they are an active swimmer, or should they look at taking classes and exams and certification post their active swimming?
No, I think, I think Chris Martin sir also mentioned that you should do something other than just doing your own sport. So I think while you're swimming, I think the online course, because there is no deadline that you have to complete this lesson in a particular given of time. I think you can definitely take out half an hour in a day of your busy schedule, even if you're a professional swimmer, to study. And I think if you read about or do your courses now, that'll give you a better understanding of yourself as a swimmer also, and how to deal or tackle with your own success or with your own failure. So I think that right now, if you want, I don't think it's good for anyone to wait to do something. Don't wait for yourself to finish swimming and then spend some time. I think now is the correct time. Now that everybody is in lockdown, I think everybody can do a lot of online sessions or online courses that they can. So I think while swimming is the best, according to me, is the best way to go forward.
Thank you.
In your view, Sandeep, as you mentioned that coaches need to have their own long-term, short-term and medium-term plan. Do you want to reveal a bit of your short-term, medium-term and long-term plan as a coach?
Well, my short-term plan is what I'm doing at Orders right now. That would actually comprise of not just my short-term, that would be my short-term and mid-term middle plan. But as a long-term plan, I would like to definitely my goal is to be a national coach at one point, or to have my own academy where I have my setup, where I have the freedom of training swimmers and using the whole pool by myself and not just 3 lanes. So no doubt that I'm learning a lot right now how to manage space and everything, but eventually my goal also is to head my own program and help Indian swimming as much as possible and give back to the game as much as possible that I've learned. That's my long-term plan.
Thank you, Sandeep. A slightly offbeat from this program's plan. As I know that you have 3 lanes and about 45 kids, and suppose you got a kid who's very hyper. How do you tackle that kid within that group? So that was one of our questions. I just kind of modified it.
So I think right now I'm blessed with all the hyper kids in the world. So in those 3
So
lanes,
what are your strategy of handling that?
in those time. So what I do is, like I told earlier in my presentation, that I take time to explain the set. But what happens if you have a hyper swimmer and if you start explaining the set in between, that hyper kid will be jumping around somewhere, splashing water on somebody. That happens. So what I do is I explain everything beforehand, before everybody gets in the pool. So I give about 5 minutes to explaining exactly what we are trying to do, what we will be doing in the workout. And what I do is I reduce the intervals in between the set. So I give them less time to talk in between. I give them less time to think. I give them less time to react. So once one set is over, I just immediately start with the other set, and I keep yelling at them, just leave, go, go, go. Even if it is a 50 easy in between, I just don't ask them to wait. And so my mantra is, give them less time to react, give them less time to think, give them less time to do anything stupid in between the workout. But again, take out time to explain exactly what you want your swimmers to do. So that's how I'm handling all my 50 hyper kids.
Nice to know that. Thank you, sir. Monod sir, if you want to help.
Yeah, again, this is a question which is not on the chat room, but I'm sure a lot of young coaches or not very senior coaches, I would say, not young coaches, but not very senior coaches, face the problem of lack of belief of the parent in the coach's abilities. And, they try to outthink the coach. And today with technology and all the YouTubes and all that in the world, uh, the belief of the swimmer parent system in the coach where they're training at sometimes takes a hit. The question is that as an established Olympian or a national swimmer, if you are a coach, do you think that automatically brings so much credibility to you that the parents on your team or the swimmers believe in you so much more just because of your background or personal accomplishments? Do you think that is a plus that you bring to the coaching?
Yeah, definitely that is a plus. That is definitely a plus. But then again, there are still a lot of parents who want to outthink me, and there are a lot of parents who, a lot of swimmers in fact watch a lot of things on YouTube, and then they come and ask me the question. The only thing I tell them is who. First of all, I ask them who are you watching on YouTube. So they'll give me a name of the world record holder. They'll say that I saw Manadu jump from the block and touch his leg on the 5 meter flag. So is that important? I said yes, it is important, but not important to touch a leg on the flag, but it's important for you to know that what he's doing this exercise for. So if he's doing this for explosion, you can do the same thing for explosion, but don't expect the same result because he's 6 feet 7 inches or 6 feet 6 inches, and you're 5 feet 2 inches. So there is no way that you're going to jump off the block and touch the flag with your leg, at least not of now. So I asked them who they are watching, and then I asked them who you're comparing them, and see your body structure and compare them. So if you want to learn something on YouTube, learn it from a 5 feet 2 inches tall person. Yes, get the ideas of all the world record holders and everything, but don't expect yourself to perform at the same level in the dryland exercises or something that, a 6 feet 7 inches and a 5 feet 2 inches, there is a lot of difference. So I just remind them of that, and I still have a lot of questions, but we just have to, talk to the swimmer. At the end of the day, your relationship with the swimmer is what matters, and not your relationship with the parents. So parents can outthink and do whatever they want, as long as the swimmer is listening to you and the swimmer is doing exactly what you want. And I think that's the most important part.
Thank you, Sandeep.
I totally agree with that. And I want to push out some of my comment also. I mean, I've been watching Katie Ledeki's comment yesterday, and what are the three things she feels that a swimmer should do? The first thing is you believe on your coach. I think the same thing happens to all the top swimmers of the country and even the top swimmers of the world. So, in my view, if there will be a lot of input from different sources, but it's always good to validate that input or verify that input with the coaches, understand the thought, understand the philosophy of that input, and I think that will make more sense in every aspect. Sorry, just off the track. Monal sir.
Perfect. I think that's good because I'm sure all the experiences you share leave behind some impression on the coaches who are on this panel, these sessions. There are many questions, Sandeep, on choosing NIS diploma course versus an ASCA certification or any other FINA certification, etc. Would you like to comment in that area?
Uh, See, first of all, I personally am not a big fan of something where you have to go. I think they equally. I think both of them have equal importance. NIS and the ASCA level. It's just the ASCA. I chose ASCA because I have the luxury of sitting at home and doing it online, and I don't. I personally don't want to go and spend 1 year in either Bangalore University or Patiala University to learn something which I can learn online and which I've learned over the years as an experienced swimmer, and now which I'm trying to implement in my coaching. So I think both have equal importance and both have their separate values. So you cannot compare. It's like apples and oranges. So you cannot compare them. Both are equally important. Yes. Both are knowledgeable. Yes. So it's just about your convenience at what you want to do, at what point you want to do it. I think that's what matters.
Fair enough. Let me
What are
just.
you? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead if you are
Yeah.
spotted.
There's a question, and you have been a swimmer also, so that's why it will be easier for you to understand. What are your advice to swimmers who are feeling stagnated or his timing has not been dropping at certain point of their career? What are your advice for those swimmers?
I think hard work, keep working hard, because hard work never goes to waste. Because that's what I've learned in 10 years of my plateau that I was on from 2008 to 2018. Like I said, 1-2 in 2008 and 1-2 again in 2018. So over the span of 11 years, I think I've gone 1-2 more than, I think, I I lost count seriously. So I think hard work never goes to waste. There were points where that hard work paid off, and there were times where that I believed that I need to work with the coach more, listen to the coach more. I think if you're stagnant, the best way, like Monul sir also put in a question, that happy swimmer or a fast swimmer. So I think happy swimmers will be happy in what you're doing, find the joy in what you're doing, and the moment you find joy in what you're doing, and if you're happy, I think you'll instantly step off that plateau and that you've been on. That's what I've learned, because every time I was happy and I had a birthday party or a wedding to attend, and immediately I'd come and done a competition, like Partha Varanasi also mentioned, because I'd shared the story with him before the national games. So I'd attended a wedding over the weekend, came back, did my 1 week of taper, and went and performed very well. So I think being happy is the most important, and the more happy you are, there are more chances that you'll step out of that plateau very, very soon.
Thank you so much. There's another question. How did you change yourself as a person uh, after converting yourself from swimmer to coach?
Uh, After
Overall,
convert,
as a person.
yeah, as a person, I think I've become a little more calmer. I've got more patient with the kids, because as a swimmer, when I was swimming and something was not working, I would really get irritated. Now the same thing is happening as a coach. If as a coach I'm trying to work on something and something is not happening, now I don't get irritated. I just change my way of thinking or change the things that we are doing. So I think I've become more patient as a person, and more calmer. That's what coaching has done to me.
Nice.
Okay. You want me to take
Yes,
the
sir.
question?
Yeah, if you can take some questions.
Okay. Sandeep, there's a question here which I'll kind of slightly modify. The question is about media money in the sport, like IPL or ISL. I would pose the question in the way that in Indian sport, we see the formation of a lot of leagues in sport like Kho, badminton, etc., kabaddi. Of course, IPL started that trend, but we are seeing these other Olympic sports also having leagues. Do you think, the question also asks the same thing? I'm asking it in the way that, do you think a league format or having a league in swimming would raise the standard of swimming in India?
Uh, it will definitely raise the standards, sir, because what IPL has done for cricket is something that that BCCI or the officials have built for themselves. The kind of fame that cricket is getting, or kind of fame badminton is getting, or kabaddi is getting, is because of is I think is mainly because of the leagues that have come in and the amount of money that has come in. So once the money and corporate world starts coming into your sport, I think, and the media coming in, I think more people, the visibility is more of the sport, and more people get attracted. The more people we attract, so we'll have a bigger crowd to work with. So right now we have handful of, say, I think 5,000 odd swimmers in the country competing at the national level. So suddenly, if that 5,000 goes up to 10,000 or 15,000, we'll definitely have 3 times more competition, or 4 times more competition, which will result in that many more national better performances at the national. So bringing money in, bringing the league in, I think that's one of the best and the fastest way for a sport to grow, which I think Kabaddi has realized, which I think badminton has realized, and football has realized. So I think I think swimming league, I think, would be a very interesting one, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that it starts really, really soon, and hopefully that would bring a lot of money and a lot of media to the game, which will not just make the game richer, but it will also attract a lot of people when they see a career opportunity in the game. Then there'll be a lot of other people who will be willing to come into swimming and give their time to swimming.
Very well. So glad to know your thoughts on the same. Looking at some questions out here. A lot of it is repetitive stuff.
Yes, I think there are many questions which are of similar in nature.
Okay, this is a question which probably might be good for coaches to advise their swimmers. Do you think training abroad is important?
I wouldn't say training abroad is important, but I would say using the support staff that people abroad have, that is important. By support staff, I mean the kind of physiotherapy they do, the kind of recovery work they focus on. I think that is more important, and it's not rocket science. I mean, we have water in the swimming pool which is 50 meters long, and every lane is 2.5 meter wide. That is the same thing in the US, and that's the same thing in the country. So it's just the state of the mind of a swimmer. I mean, you can work hard in the US, or you can come and work hard in the country itself. It's not like we don't have the facilities, but I would say it is very important to see the way every the world class level swimmers are training, and they're working on their rehab and recovery work. I think learning from that is more important than just going abroad and training. If I had to choose train abroad or train in the country, I would definitely pick training in the country, because we have the facility, we have the coaches, we have everything. It's just so much better to stay at home and have home food and work out here.
That's nice.
I'm sure you would have mentioned this in your presentation, but somebody is asking you what inspired you to be a coach post an elite level swimmer.
Actually, I wanted to be a coach from a very long time. In I think 2015, I had taken a break. I thought I was done with swimming, and I started coaching for a while at Dolphin Aquatics in Mattikari in Bangalore, the old pool that we had. So I had been part of the summer camp over there. I was teaching the small kids, and I think when I was swimming, because like I mentioned that I would notice, even if I'm swimming in lane 1, I would notice a person bunking workout in lane number 8. So I think at that time only I knew that, I have the eye for this, and I want to stand out on the pool deck and see if everything is looking different or the same. So there are a lot of times where I would come out to practice and just stand and see if I could see the corner of the pool, and I could actually. I would see the underwater that person who was in lane number 8 in the diagonally opposite side would do. So since then I've been always always very keen to learn about coaching, and I always, since I think 2008 onwards, I decided that I want to be a coach, and swimming is what I want to do and stay with.
I assume that gives the answer very effectively.
Yes, and I think I see mostly the same in the kind of questions, or there are certain questions which is not that relevant.
Okay, I think I can read one question.
Yeah, please.
When you find kids believes more on parents' feedback than coach, what will be your guidance and approach? Well, my approach would be a little different. I would, I know there are a lot of swimmers who finish their race and go to their parents first for the feedback, and then they, have that session, and then they come to the coach. So every time that happens, and if I spot a person or a swimmer who's gone to their parents first and taking the feedback and talking for a long time, and then coming to the coach, the first thing I would ask them, that what was your parents' feedback? What your parents think that you did? Are they happy? So then they would explain to me, and they will realize, you know, it becomes a lot very embarrassing for a swimmer when a coach comes, when you come to a coach and ask, and the coach says, what did your parents say? What do your parents feel about this? So that's my approach. I would ask them, okay, your parents have already given you feedback, so you don't need mine. So let's get on with the swim down. So, you know, you don't need feedbacks from two different people. That's what I try to explain them. And then I sometimes talk to the parents and pull them to the side and talk to them, you know, that this is what I believe should have been the feedback for the kid. And if you've given that feedback, that's good. But if you have not given that feedback, or if you've given some other feedback, then this is what you should have said. This is what I would have said. So I tell the parents also that this would be my feedback. So they know that they did something wrong or they did give a wrong feedback. So they learn.
Yeah. For having been a very accomplished swimmer, uh, do you think that the gap or the extended gap due to this lockdown will be a problem to bring the swimmers back to training? And what are your advice to coaches who are trying to bring there?
I personally think that this is the blessing in disguise that all the swimmers are having, because I don't see any swimmers taking this long break ever in their the whole career, and it's a very good. I keep talking to all my swimmers that have been you know, locked down, and the only thing I ask them is, are you growing? because because suddenly when the physical activity is taken away, the or everything that you eat suddenly adds to your growth. And I think 5 or 6 of my swimmers have already mentioned that they've grown about 2 inches or 3 inches. So I think this is a great blessing in disguise, I would say. Yes, it will be difficult for coaches, but then again, your coaching skills will be tested in this after the lockdown is open. How you deal with all the questions that your swimmers are going to ask you, and how you plan your workouts, how you plan your cycle, and what competitions are coming up next. But I think this is a very good thing that is happening, and a lot of kids needed this break. Yeah, it is a wrong time, but good break for everybody to have from swimming, and hopefully everybody will come mentally very fresh and very eager to swim. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Great.
Talking about coaching, how do you define yourself as a coach? A strict coach or
Uh, Not at all a strict coach, because I have I have I'm always joking at the pool deck. I'm always keeping my swimmers happy. I always have been doing stupid stuff while I was a swimmer. So I think I have carried that forward, and I still do a lot of stupid stuff at the pool deck, so that kids watch me and they feel happy, and you know, so if I am a strict coach now, I have started being a little bit strict. But initially, for 1 year, to develop a relationship between a coach and a swimmer, I think I was joking all the time at the pool deck, and everybody is kind of like that, and that's why everybody started coming to the pool regularly. They want to talk to me after and before every session. They want to take my feedback on their personal life. So I think that's very important for me. So now I've started becoming a little strict, but in the same time, the kids have not, you know, they still come up to me and talk to me, even though I'm angry at them or you know, whatever. So I think being friendly with the swimmer initially helped me a lot. So I'd like to continue that way.
thank you.
Okay, so as an Olympian and as a great doing a great job with coaching, this question has been popping up for a while. So I thought let's take it. Uh, which things you wish to implement in Indian swimming? It has also been asked in the form of, if you want to change 2 or 3 things, what would you change?
Well, like I said earlier, that there are a lot of positive things already happening with the Indian swimming now, and to change more things will just probably mess up the good rate of the good graph that is going up. So I think we should all stay put, and already lots of positive things are happening. Halo India has come up with the great initiative. Sports Authorities of India and Swimming Federation of India collaborating and doing this online workshop. This is a great initiative. I think everything is happening and falling into right place. now, and it's about time that we start learning and appreciating the things we have, rather than adding more and more burden on the federation or the sports authorities of India to keep adding new things. So I think whatever we have, we should make full use of it and appreciate it. I think whatever is happening, I don't want to change anything, but yeah, there are a lot of things to be added, which will be, I'm sure, added in the near future, like more competitions and stuff like that, which everybody keeps talking about. But I think now, as an age group swimmer, there are more than enough competitions happening across the country. We have junior nationals, we have state meets before that, then we have school nationals, we have Khelo India for them, and then Asian age group. I think that's more than enough meets also for now. The, everything that's happening is good so far.
Very well said, Sandeep. I really agree with that. So would you like to point out any more questions, or we should conclude
No,
this session?
I can't point out too many questions. There is something which somebody is writing. A key thing Indian coach need to focus to follow and create somebody like Michael Phelps in India. Well, I think Michael Phelps needs to be born in India.
Yeah, Michael Phelps, exactly, sir. Truly said. Michael Phelps will be born sometime in India for sure, but there is, I mean, you cannot create a monster whose wingspan is about 7 feet and whose height is 6'2", and that's body just born to be a swimmer. So I think those kind of star athletes are born, and they fall into right hands at the right time. I think that's just a blessing from God. I think there's nobody who can make a Michael Phelps. He needs to be born.
Fine. So, if we are going for a wrap, there is something that I want to tell Sandeep. Please share your experience to represent India at the Olympics, to be at the Olympics and representing your country. Let's end the session on that note.
Yeah, well, first of all, the Beijing Olympics was, I think, one of the biggest stage and biggest, I would say, the most infrastructure-wise was the highly invested games of all time. I mean, every single stadium had a unique way of what it was built for. So, like, swimming pool was built like a water cube. There was giant water cube which was just placed in the middle of nowhere, and then we had a bird's nest right next to the swimming pool, which was the athletic stadium, which actually looked from the distance like a bird nest. So I think I think the first time I walked on the pool deck of the warm-up pool, in fact, I thought that was the pool, and it was so big. And I was wondering, and I was asking questions to myself that why are there no stands in this pool? And then Yasa told me, you idiot, this is a warm-up pool. And then, oh, if this is the warm-up pool, I can't wait to see the main pool. And then we went to see the main pool, and when I was walking in from the call room to the 100 meters breaststroke, I was swimming in lane number 2. So all I did was I was looking down, and I was just telling myself, don't look up. There are more than 10,000 people sitting in the galleries. You don't want to look at them. Just look down, stay focused on what you have to do. Just before the race, I don't know why, I just had to take a look around, and suddenly that rush of adrenaline that came into my body. And in that 100 meters race, I broke 2 national records. In the first 50, I broke the 50 national record, and then came back and broke the 100 meters record. I think there was, I even if I now think about that, I still get goosebumps. So I think that was what I would rate that experience higher than my Asian Games medal experience, and it is, I think, one of the things that made all the journey that I have had for 20 years, the hard work, everything was worth what that just one moment of you standing on the blocks and just looking at the public and seeing everybody just watch you over there, and there are no words that I can use to explain that experience, but certainly the best experience of my life. And I'm sure that was there were other experiences in my life which come very close, like winning an Asian Games medal, getting an Arjuna Award. But representing the country at the Olympics was my ultimate goal and ultimate dream, which I achieved in 2008. So it was, in one word, electrifying. I just get goosebumps even talking about it.
Absolutely. Superb. Superb. we hope we have more and more swimmers who go through that experience in the future. With that, we thank you for being here, sharing your experiences as a swimmer and as a coach. And I'm sure you left a lot of takeaways for the coaches here on this panel. Partha, you have would
Yes.
like to add something?
Yeah, I like to add
Personally,
your
thanks.
thought on Olympics, sir. And I think let all of us coaches, we try to ensure that we put or contribute something to create an Olympic swimmer or to ensure a podium finish for the country. And when we say about contribution, the contribution comes from different level of coaching. It starts from learn to swim program and it goes to all the level. So as a coach, if we educate ourselves, if we deliver better, if you contribute and create an environment which will bring India or which will develop the environment of the country to create an Olympic podium finish, I think our goal will be achieved. With that note, I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow there's a class about mind training to be conducted by Minan Chakrabarti. Thank you, Sandeep, so much for this wonderful session and all your insight about your swimming career and coaching. Monal sir, thank you for that. And with that note, we are leaving the